What's happening, everyone? We've just had this massive conversation, and I thought I'd put a disclaimer in now at the start because me and Shiv started playing devil's advocate for the sake of the debate, and we don't want to come across as ignorant. So please bear in mind we are just playing devil's advocate. I didn't want to put it beforehand, but I have to because after reviewing it, we would just seem like absolute assholes. So please just take it as we are playing devil's advocate.
It was actually Fawaz playing devil's advocate the whole time. None of those views
Fawaz
are
is
his.
actually ignorant as fuck. But yeah, cool. I hope you enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 11th episode of the Wafflehouse. And today we've actually got basically what
has it actually only been 11 of these?
Yeah, so
I feel like I've been doing this for my entire life.
Yeah, so we had two more, but basically one of them messed up on the frame rates and the sound and stuff, so that one got lost. And then the other one, as we were recording it, I ran out of like space on my hard drive, so yeah, we lost that one as well.
Is that 3 total lost?
Yes,
podcasts?
Yeah.
We need to sue Riverside.
Yes, we've lost 2 podcasts to Riverside already.
Yeah, and then
3.
The other one was my fault because I didn't clear enough space.
And we lost our dignity to Riverside as well.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, today's episode is actually technically a listener suggestion because Shiv brought it up that his friend Fraser, who he works with and listens to the podcast, basically asked us to have a conversation about if you're not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. But before we get into it, I got to ask you all how you're all doing. You all good?
Yes,
I'm tired as shit, man. I watched the Super Bowl last night, and I'm a bit delirious.
Was it worth seeing Brady get another ring?
No. And I put a bet on the Chiefs. They were just shit. It was only lost a $5, but it was just shit.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but
it's what. So the weekend was sick. I
still want to see that. I've not watched the show yet. I want to watch that halftime show.
Yeah,
quite excited for it.
Yeah, but there was like memes that he made more yards than the Chiefs. He went further along the field than the Chiefs. But Brady is just mad. Like maybe we can talk.
He doesn't lose Super Bowls, does he? Really?
No,
he's lost like 2.
It's just one of the best.
He's won more Super Bowls than any other franchises in the.
Yeah. I think he might have done that.
Mad.
I think he might have done that before anyway.
He himself has more Super Bowl wins than any of the franchises in the NFL.
Yeah.
Which is like insane.
That's mad.
That is crazy.
Mad. I think it's like because I remember seeing like only tennis players have more like Grand Slams than he has Super Bowl rings as well, and that's because you have like 4 Grand Slams a year.
Yeah.
Oh no, but Bill Russell's got 12 rings. Not other than that. Yeah, Bill Russell's got 12 rings. Robert Horry's got 7. Fucking a bunch of the Celtics got like 11, 10.
That Celtics team, like they would have won every year.
They won 12 out of 13. That's crazy.
Joke, man. It was a joke.
But yeah, whoever's put that out on the internet is lying. But yeah, don't trust the internet, kids.
American football.
Serena Williams is the best sports person of all time.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
Probably the most winningest, but
yeah.
Anyway, to get away from sports for a second, we can talk about that later. But so like if the question we're asking is if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Like, is that true or does that hold up? And we can talk about it like from many things, from like greater things like sexism and racism, all the way down to things like like someone getting bullied, and so there's. And obviously, it gets way more complicated the more significant and and more like how more complicated
the more worldwide an issue becomes as well.
Yeah. So,
because like, say for example, if we're talking about like bullying, just like this bullying friend group, that might not be as complex. But then you go onto sexism and racism, and it's like this whole fucking vast thing, and it's this like mad butterfly effect. Whereas like, you could say, I don't know how to like phrase it properly, but like saying, fuck, how am I going to say this? I had a really good point. I had a really, really good point. shit, I don't know. It's basically like the butterfly effect of like what you say and the efforts you make with larger issues is much more greater than like smaller scale issues. And obviously that's just pretty common sense when you like think about it, but you forget about it when you're talking about it and when you're like taking part in like forms of activism. So like just trying to remember that brings you like closer to the solution already. Even if you're not actively trying to be part of the solution, even if you're just understanding the situation, you are becoming part of the solution. It's kind of detracted from what I was saying there, but it's still a good point.
Yeah, that was a good point.
But as an overall standpoint on this, just so everyone knows to start out, I think me and Luke are on one side and Fo and Shiv might be on the other. Shiv's kind of understanding of both sides, but Fo's very...
So I think what it is you, Mike and Luke are on one side of the argument, and
what
Shiv
side
says,
am I on? What side?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, we spoke about this like 5 minutes beforehand. That's all I could gather.
Yeah. I'll just say my stance on it because that's what I understand. I like Shiv said it's not a black and white argument. I think it is, and like I'll get into why I think it is. But I do think if you are not part of the solution, you are definitely part of the problem.
I think I'm quite close to what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I think that the definition of the solution can be really, really broad.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. The definition of solution is like quite a flexible term.
Okay.
Especially in like a context like this.
Yeah. So okay, we might be quite aligned there.
Yeah.
It's weird because I somewhat agree with it, but also I just think, like I said at the start, and I said on one of the Lost podcasts anyway, when we said we were going to talk about this, I said that basically you can't be a part of every single the solution to every single problem in the world. It's just it'd be way too stressful. You wouldn't sleep. You're going crazy.
That's like the understanding point of it, like that I have. Like I'm very much I agree with if you're not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. But also, like you said, there's so many problems. Like, how can you be part of the solution to every single problem on the planet? Like, it's not feasible. There's not enough hours in the day for you to be part of the solution to everything.
Yeah, and like obviously that I'm not saying like everyone has to be the part of the solution of every problem they encounter, but as human beings you have to pick your battles, because if you're trying to like pick and choose everything, you're just going to burn yourself out and you're going to end up like not doing anything efficient.
Yeah, but like what you're saying here is like what makes me think that like
no. So
you're saying like it is pretty.
I wasn't done with my
point
though.
No. But just from like your initial point and like what we said, my issue with it is that like I completely agree that you can do so many things like internally as well to like help be part of the solution. But like you just said, picking and choosing a battle, it means that you are effectively like neglecting one thing, which means that you're no longer part of the solution to that problem.
Not necessarily, because the solution, trying to be part of the solution before in like one field of life will also give you lessons on how to be solutions in other fields of your life as well. So neglecting one for now doesn't necessarily mean neglecting it forever, and not being part of the solution now doesn't mean that you're part of the problem now. It just means that you're not part of the solution right now. And then in the future, when it comes back into the topic, you will be part of the solution because you'll have a greater understanding.
But the whole thing is, if you're not part of the solution,
Black Mirror shit.
If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Like that was the blanket statement, right? So if you're not part of the solution right now, does that not essentially from that statement, from what we said, from that statement, if you're not part of the solution at this current moment, does that not then?
No, it means you're not directly part of the solution. You're an indirect part of the solution because you're investing research and development into that issue to then become a more efficient solution to the problem, or come up with a more efficient solution to the problem.
But I don't think that then stands as like the same statement as if you're not part of the solution.
I mean, it does, because you're still part of the solution. You are still bettering that situation, whether you realize it or not. You're bettering that situation, so you are part of the solution, even just by increasing the amount of knowledge you have on it.
Okay.
Here's a question for you. What about things like dictators and warlords and such like that neglect their people? So, for example, we could say like over in Yemen, what's going on over in Yemen, and everyone knows what's going on over there. It's horrible, but like if we say we share a post on it or whatever, and spread knowledge, that's not going to affect anything over there. Like the fact that we know what's going on over there doesn't change what's happening over there. So therefore, you're still, that doesn't make you part of the problem because you can't do anything about it. You can't. So in that
No, but it
scenario,
makes you part of the solution.
no, but there is. But the thing is, there is no solution to it other than there's nothing you can do as a human to change what's going on over there. So that must, therefore, by definition, not being part of the solution makes you part of the problem.
That's no, just because you're making an effort already means you're part of the solution.
But like,
because
if there is no, so like with dictatorships, the only solution to a dictatorship is a foreign nation invading that country and removing that dictator, essentially.
That was a very imperialist thing to say, Shiv.
No. I'm not saying that's the right. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but like as history goes,
it smells like colonial hangover.
So I'm not saying that is the right choice at all. But like,
this is what he's saying.
It's what's happened in the past. And if we're going on past events, like with Saddam Hussein, etc. Like things like that, foreign nations have invaded and removed the dictator from the top. But like, how can we, just by like learning about what's going on over there, be part of the solution if we're not ourselves invading that country?
Spreading information, increasing knowledge, creating public pressure on governments to take the adequate steps to remove that dictator or warlord or whoever may be in power at the time from power. As long as you do your best and do your most as a resident or as a citizen of the nation you're residing in.
But then that just leads to more war.
Telling people
it does just lead to more conflict.
It leads to more war and conflict. You're creating a whole nother problem.
How am I creating another problem?
Because if you're influencing governments to act and essentially try and remove a dictatorship, it's going to create another conflict over there. Like we saw in Iraq with Saddam Hussein, there's a whole new war that went on for years, and that's a whole.
There's a lot of political unrest there. Like now that they've not got
that's not you making. That's not you making.
That's
dictators
not problem.
Do worse things. Yeah. That's
and also sometimes things have to get worse to get better.
But like, so say with Syria, like there's been a lot more civil and political unrest since. Am I right in saying Gaddafi for Syria?
Can I just say,
I think
that's Libya.
That was Libya.
Sorry.
When I said things have to get worse to get better, sometimes I definitely don't mean war and killing of.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Probably good to clarify that. Yeah. But no, I see what you're saying, Mike. Like it's very difficult to, because who are we to say that us invading and getting rid of that dictator is actually the right thing for the country?
Yeah, like we look at Saddam Hussein and Syria and all these other countries. I don't know who the leader was of Syria. I can't remember, but like they were put in place to essentially, try and maintain order. And obviously, what they did was wrong. And there was like awful things going on, but what happened afterwards is even worse. Do you know what I mean? So you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to happen after that, and so when you put like pressure on a government to do something, you don't know what the after effect is of it, and then by you trying to be the solution of one problem, you've created an even bigger problem, and that is.
I understand that, but if you were to adopt that approach with all the issues you came across in your life, you wouldn't get a lot done, would you? Because you'd just be scared about the negative consequences. Of trying to be the solution. If you just keep on trying to be the solution more often than not, and in our context as well, because we're not world leaders, we're not world powers, they probably won't have as convoluted relations as the ones we're discussing on this podcast. So for like our own internal conflicts, if we just try to be the solution a lot more often than not, we'll end up with positive solutions rather than like negative effects.
You could say in that situation, the solution is promoting globalism and understanding other people's struggles to kind of raise attention to maybe even like the Red Cross or UNICEF to say, go help these people, and just try and spread understanding so that people get help in shit situations. That's the solution there.
But this is what my issue is. The Red Cross can go in there so many times, and so UNICEF can go in there so many times, but there's that can only happen. So, like I said, the UN can only go in there so many times before that. There's nothing essentially is going to change long term with the root of the problem, which is what you realistically are powerless of doing.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, I think that's a big expectation you're putting on just like somebody at a laptop.
Yeah.
Hey man, you not wanted to get deep with it. I said let's not get deep with it. Everyone wanted to get deep.
Yeah. It's just kind of a lot of pressure yourself if you're always trying to take down global dictators. You've got to pick your, but like for as I said, there are bigger problems than just like trying to get people food. And
I think world hunger is a pretty big problem.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah. I mean, yeah,
that's the headline right there.
Okay.
World hunger does not think
What's the word? There are, I would say, trying to give people food is quite a basic. It's not very complex. It's quite. This needs to go there, so these people can eat. Whereas, God, I'm trying to think where I'm going to go with this now. Trying to dismantle dictatorships, or is it? I'm trying to think of big words now. Idiosyncrasy. Is that something? Maybe. That might be something.
That's a word. It's definitely a word.
I don't know if that's related.
Idiosyncrasies. Yeah, I don't know.
You've thrown a big word out. And good for you.
I don't know why that word's popped in.
I think when you're looking at dictatorships, the next big word you want to look at is like oligarchies and shit.
That's the one.
Idiosynchronization.
Yeah. I'm going to look that up after I finish talking. When you're trying to dismantle those systems, it's a bigger task. That's all I'm saying, and it's tough to do on your laptop.
Yeah, but then the other thing, everything we're talking about is tough to do on your laptop.
Wait, Mike, I just realized you can like order the videos on Zoom. So could you have like me and Luke on one side and you and Shiv on one side, so that we have like.
It's kind of already started.
Yeah, don't
now.
worry about it, man.
Okay, for the next part will be ordered. But
then, so if you bring it closer to home, like there's poverty in the UK, and there's a great deal of poverty. But if you're not actively donating, because like I think everyone in the UK, or like I say everyone, I feel like most people in the UK are well aware that there is poverty in the UK, and like there doesn't need to be a great deal of education on that topic because like people are already aware of it.
Yeah.
So if people are sitting at home and not actively doing anything on that particular topic, does that mean that they're not part of the solution?
Well, it depends on the steps they're taking in their own time, because obviously if you obviously in a time like this as well with coronavirus, if you don't have the financial ability to donate to the less fortunate, there's no pressure on you to do so. That
no, of course not. Yeah,
that's, and like more so in this time as well. But more specifically, like you don't have to be like actively donating monetary amounts to be part of the solution. Like even if you've just got like, say at the end of the day at work, like if I'm working there and we've got like some spare bread left over, instead of chucking it out, if I just take it out and put it like in a food shelter, like leave it outside a charity shop, that's part of being the solution as well.
Yeah, no, of course.
I'm not doing any of that, I can still be part of the solution just by not even educating myself on people in poverty, but just like educating myself on empathy and wholeheartedness and whole-mindedness. That teaches us to be more empathetic to those less fortunate than us. So you are then part of the solution, even in terms of poverty, when you're not doing anything directly for it.
Great. I think like the point you've made is like spot on. But like, is there a point where you have to eventually? Just to clarify, I'm actually more with your and Luke's standpoint.
Yeah.
In this whole debate, but I'm essentially playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But I think, is there a point where you have to then put what you're learning into action. Like there's only so much learning you can do, and only so much self work you can do.
Yeah.
And then like I'm not saying it's a bad thing to educate yourselves or whatever, because education is like great, and like learning new things, learning new skills is amazing. But if you just keep learning without putting anything into place and getting the wheels rolling, are you benefiting anyone?
Unless you're using your education to educate other people, you have to start doing some sort of like any form of like activism, whether it's like education or like donation or just even like you have to be. You can't plateau your help. Well, obviously at a certain point you can because you hit a peak, but if you just like educated yourself a bit and you're like, okay, so I know it's a problem, and you just stop there, that's not part of being part of the solution. Obviously there's a point where you can't learn much more. Well, you do learn, but it loses its effectiveness because you've not got any actual practice. So at some point when you've like learned enough, you need to start practicing along with your education.
So what I guess my point there is that like there's only so much personal growth you can do before you no longer are part of the solution, if that makes sense.
I think so. Oh no.
No, so your personal growth never stops. It's more so your mindset towards the problems.
Okay.
So
I may have worded that wrong, but like my gist is that like there's only so much you can do internally before you need to do something externally.
100%.
Yeah, you don't automatically become part of the problem once you've learned too much.
No, of course not, But it's just once you've learned a lot and you're not doing anything about it. Like once you've learned enough and you're of a position where you know you can do something to help. If you're then not doing anything to help, I think
then
you
are part of the problem.
Become part of the problem. Yeah.
Because at that point, it's not ignorance, and it's not just being uninformed. At that point, it's willful ignorance, and you are one of the most dangerous parts of the problem.
That's why I think this topic is like. That's why I think it's not so black and white, because of the depth that we've just gone into. That I don't think that's like black and white. So to me, that's a lot more grey than it is just clear one side or another. Do you know what I mean?
For me, like it's black and white, but it's a very fine line between the two. Like you can hop in and out, and you're not permanently part of one. You get admitted into part of one. Because I've been part of the problem for quite a few issues where I like to think now I'm the solution. And then I've also been in situations where I've like been part of the solution and I've moved to the problem, moved back to the solution, back to the problem. And like that's just what going through it is. That's what going through the motions is. You learn what's happening and you learn how to have a positive effect on what's going on. And obviously we were talking about doing stuff internally and externally. There's only so much you can do externally because it only applies to like a certain amount of fields. But when you do something internally, it probably affects like your whole outlook on life.
I completely agree with what you're saying. Like if you focus on one subject, you essentially then broaden your mind, because there's always crossover between different topics. So like I think what you said was like bang on. I just want to play devil's advocate and see like
obviously
if I could really put a point in there or not.
Like you keep on learning your external stuff and like new stuff that's happening, because in a world of 8 billion people, it's always impossible for one person to keep up with everything that's happening all the time. But it's also important to like, obviously there'll be some issues that you feel more connected with, or like you feel a bit more drawn to. Like, for example, like for me, when the whole George Floyd thing happened over the summer, I was like really drawn to that because it was a racial injustice, and like that's something that like I've always been like keen on learning about. So I decided to invest a lot more of my external activity into that, and then like a lot more of my internal activity into like I hate the words because it's like that self-help book kind of shit, but like what's that fucking something mindedness, and it's like a big self-help book word.
Open-mindedness?
No.
I gotta be honest, I really don't know what.
Like, the only reason I know about the word is because my mum loves self-help books. She keeps on telling me to read them. But yeah, like just having that like well, you don't even have it. You have to train it. As long as you train that personality trait of like understanding where people come from and becoming a lot more loving and accepting, you will eventually become the solution for most, if not all, of the problems you come across in your life.
The issue is, right, this is the issue with what you just described. This is a short-term solution. And like I said, it always goes back to square one. Like,
I don't think it does.
Yeah,
No,
but
I
it
don't
is
think
short.
it's a short-term.
Unless you
I don't
tackle,
think
like I
it's a
said,
short-term solution.
but it is a short-term solution. If you,
No, it isn't.
if
Because
because
when
at the
you're
end of the day-
acting from within yourself, you're changing the way your brain functions, and that is a long-term effect.
yeah, but that's
Because
not.
when
Yeah,
you
but that's
change
not.
your mindset and your approach to loads of different problems, like over periods of time and different topics of different like problems, and you learn how to come into it with like a problem-solving approach and a positive mindset. And I know this sounds like absolute bullshit, and this sounds like
You're
the
about to
fucking-
start like,
Bro,
being a
that's
PT or
about
something.
that's about you. That's about your. I'm talking about the problem at hand. Like what it does to your life is completely different. But what I'm saying is, if it's say for example, you go to like you help out at a food bank or whatever.
yeah.
That's short term until you can no longer do it, and then all of a sudden there's no one there anymore. Unless until you tackle the problem at the root of it. That is only short term
Yeah,
kind
I
of
solution.
see
get
what
that.
your point
I
is
understand
there,
where you're
actually.
coming
Yeah.
from, but
Your solution pass doesn't expire
yeah,
after a certain amount of time.
but
If you
then-
help out, there's not like an amount of time where somebody's going to say you're the problem now.
and
Swipe
also,
that.
also
is
it's
that not-
pretty
is that
important
not
to
the whole
mention
point of
the
that?
the
If you're not
short-term
part of the
solutions are just
solution,
as
you're part of the
important as
problem.
long-term solutions. Because if you're not working at that food bank, who's going to work at that food
Yeah,
bank?
yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying is what's more important is it a long-term solution or a short-term solution? And
Again, that's just picking and choosing your battles, choosing what appeals to you the most, because obviously you can't choose every single one of your battles. You choose the battles which appeal to you the most and do a lot of work on that
Yeah.
externally. And then for the rest, you do a lot more internal stuff.
it's fair enough. But yeah, I mean,
I do completely get your point, Mike.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you have to
No,
break the
yeah.
problem down at the root for it to have to. At the end of the day, how do you get rid of weeds? You dig out the
Yeah.
roots, and
Like-
and
Yeah.
they don't grow back, right?
Yeah.
So like
I-
essentially, you have to do some proper deep digging to try and break that issue down.
yeah,
but-
but until
but
you
you
can
can't
until you can get to the
always-
root, you might as well just trim it.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's a bad thing, but
Yeah,
like essentially just trimming it can only last so long, like
Yeah.
until something
Obviously-
deeper needs to be done.
Yeah. But that's when it goes back to when you do a certain amount and you plateau and you know you can do more, are you then part of the problem?
Mm.
Because if you get into a position where you've been going to this food bank for like, you've been volunteering at this food bank for like a couple of years now, and then you get promoted to like supervisor, management, and then you start making money off it, you realize it's a pretty cushy job, and you don't do enough to like further that food bank, you then become part of the problem, and then that food bank will shut down. It does become like that. But then you can also use that promotion to become an even bigger part of the solution. So it's all dependent on the person in the situation, which is why I feel like people say it's not as black and white, it's more gray. And obviously that's true when you're looking at it on a whole like global scale, but when you're looking at it on a, I guess that's like the interpretation of it for me.
Yeah, I think it does
Yeah.
come down to interpretation more
Because
than
I think when you said it was a gray area, you were looking at it as like a group of people who have
yeah,
like,
I'm looking at
Yeah.
the issue, the whole
Yeah.
issue on its
when I
own.
was looking at it, I was looking at from my personal perspective, there's black and there's white, and there's a really fine line between the two.
Mhm.
That's sort
Yeah,
of how I was looking at it.
Okay, yeah, that makes
I mean,
sense.
for me, the thing is with me is that it's a weird one, right? Because it's like what Luke said right at the start, and it says, "What do you define as the solution?" So, like, I think it should be is it everyone's like being a good human is helping out others and doing whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the solution. So, therefore, I don't necessarily believe that. For me, like I said, the solution for like most things is tackling things at the root, and a lot of people can't do that. So for me, they aren't part of the problem because there's nothing they can do about it. That's my whole point on this, is that it doesn't like I said, there's certain things you just can't do. So then to label them part of the problem is, in my opinion, wrong.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
your Joe blogs in like a medium income household doing everything they can personally, and making like chipping away a huge statue is not gonna like do anything that a bulldozer can do. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, that doesn't mean that
and
they're like
should we
again.
take a break before we get
Yeah,
started?
we'll take a break
Yeah.
and come back to
Right.
it.
I'm gonna
Cool.
think real hard during this break, man.
I'm gonna go
Trust
make
me.
some coffee,
Yeah.
and I'll be back.
Safe.
Cool. Okay, right. So we're back, and the point that we just left on was me saying that just because someone helps out and does their thing to help other humans, and that's part of our duty as a human, doesn't necessarily mean they're part of the solution to certain problems. They're just helping out because it depends on what you define the solution as to be.
Yeah, and I think like that's a bit unjust to say that to someone who might be trying their best and they're not like able to be part of the big picture solution. And like we'll go back to that food bank analogy because it's the same thing. If someone's not working at that food bank to work on bigger picture stuff, someone will have to be working at that food bank to fill their shoes, and they are part of the solution because even though they're not ending world hunger, they are feeding like 2 or 3 hungry people that day. So they are part of the solution.
Yeah, they're definitely part of the solution.
Yeah,
the solution shouldn't be when you get to a certain stage.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not doing enough. You need to go about ending world hunger.
Yeah.
I
mean,
I don't think anyone's
this is my point.
Sorry, you go, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say this isn't my point. My point isn't that. I'm saying I think it's unfair to say that, or even if someone doesn't work at a food bank or they do whatever, but then I'm saying that, and like you said, I think the statement is just completely false in the sense that while they're not part of the long-term solution, that doesn't make them a part of the problem. It just means that they're doing their bit to help other human beings, as a good human being. And then to label them part of the problem when they're not part of a real long-term solution because they can't be is again unjust to them.
Yeah.
I think we're really getting into like the minutiae of
like
what it means.
Like,
well, yeah, because like
at its heart, I think it is pretty. What's going on? At its heart, I think it's pretty much true. There's no point drawing a line as to say if somebody isn't the solution, they're now part of the problem. Because why do you want to make a bigger problem? You're making a bigger problem.
Yeah, I feel like if you're making strides to either better your life or someone else's life, regardless of the context, you are part of the solution.
Yes.
So but we now just
whether you're bettering yourself internally or externally, or you're bettering someone else off internally or externally, you are directly or indirectly part of a solution to many problems just by taking part in that interaction.
Put that down in a paragraph.
But I think we've just like turned the statement on its head completely and said
that's what we do here, the Wafflehouse, baby.
But have we now just said that if you're not part of the problem, you're part of the solution? I think that's what we've just come to. I think that's what we've just ended on.
I don't think we have.
No, because essentially what you're saying is we shouldn't put people in
the original statement anyways.
No, not quite. Because if you're not part of the problem, so we're saying if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
But if you're saying you're not part of the problem, that doesn't necessarily make you part of the solution.
What other categories are there?
Oh fucking hell, man! I mean, if you flip it, it gets rid of the entire argument. Because if you say that if you're not part of the problem, you must be part of the solution.
Yeah, I think I may have just misinterpreted what you and Luke have just said, Bo.
Yeah, I think I misinterpreted.
Because what I took from that was that you said we can't say everyone's part of the problem if they're not part of the solution, which means that you're saying.
Well, I'm confused now.
I think those are the words that came out of Luke's mouth.
Yeah, I think it might have been. I didn't really mean that. I didn't mean that.
So what I'm saying is, as long as you pretty much what I said, as long as you're making strides to better yourself or someone else, internally or externally, you are directly or indirectly part of many solutions already.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
What I meant.
But does your internal change affect someone else's life? If I change how I think, it doesn't help. Someone who's hungry up in Manchester.
That doesn't matter about the hungry. I appreciate the hungry person.
Yeah,
definitely please don't be hungry anymore, person in Manchester. but
Christ.
but if your internal change means that you promote positive attitudes, that stops that person being hungry, eventually, somewhere down the line, then you've done something good. Should we sum it up then?
Because some of that got quite arbitrary. I don't know. I might start cutting shit out.
Pretty much, just be sound to people, and you're part of the solution.
Yes.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, basically just do your bit. Just be a good fucking human who like don't worry about solutions and problems here. Just be a good person and do what you think is right.
Yeah.
Your solution can be personal to you.
Yeah. Just do whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you can.
Just be nice to people because you don't know anything they might be going through. So being nice to someone might make their day.
Yeah,
in a world where you can be anything, just be kind.
And listen as well, an Instagram post takes like 3 seconds to share. So if you see something that could be like has a high amount of information,
to support your friend's small business /podcast.
No, not even that. Like if you see a post which is really what's what I'm looking for, but it can teach a lot of people a lot of things, just share it. It takes 3 seconds. Who cares? And like if no, realistically, no one's gonna think any less of you. But yeah, I mean, this conversation has got real deep, as we expected. But it's always gonna. But like we said, especially with the we're all very like-minded, so it's good to at least. I mean, people should you need to have these debates, even if you don't necessarily believe in what it is, because it allows all different viewpoints to be covered.
Yeah.
I feel like not even debates, just having these conversations with your friends, even if you 100% agree on it, is still very important, because even though all 4 of us have the same opinion on this, all 4 of us have come in with very different perspectives.
Well, that's the thing. You open so many different avenues by speaking to people and educating yourself.
You 3 were looking at it from different angles that I probably wouldn't have looked at, even if I looked at that question for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've learned a lot from
It's going to help you talk about it to other people who might not agree.
Yeah.
It gives you completely different points to then convey to other people. Initially, I wouldn't have seen it as for Waz's more individual sense of growing as a person and solving solutions on a smaller scale. And now that I can look at that, if someone then said to me, oh, well, I don't know, I feel like if you're not part of the solution, you're not necessarily part of the problem. But then you can then say, but every day, if you are doing something personally, you're then essentially part of the solution. Yeah. So it gives you different opinions to offer people, so that they can then diversify what they have to think.
Yeah,
pretty much. That's spot on.
Summed it up real well there.
The other thing I will say, and with that, just to add on to that, is that if you do see someone with ignorant beliefs or whatever, obviously the worst thing you can do is put them on blast in public, because it's going to make them more spiteful and probably more. Just try and DM them and try and educate them in that sense, because otherwise, like we said on previous podcasts, if you try and outcast someone and make them feel different, they're going to feel more strongly in their views.
Don't give someone grief for making a mistake. Give someone grief for not willing to work on their mistakes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
A while ago, I was going to ask if there was anything whether we think we could be more of a solution. We could be I think more vocal about.
I think everyone has their own things that they can improve on.
Yeah,
definitely for sure.
I got so much I can improve on as a person.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I think I let too much slide when I hear things that I don't agree with, that aren't right, be said, and I don't call people out on it enough. And I know that I can do more. There's just the initial, I don't want to cause friction with people, but causing friction with people shouldn't be the reason it stops me. And I know I can do more with regard calling people out on their bullshit, And personally, for me, that's one of the biggest things that I know I can do.
But that's you
Yeah,
as a person. You don't
yeah.
want beef. You don't want friction. Whereas like me, I'm happy to do that. I don't give a fuck. I
See,
don't care.
see,
if
for
someone don't like
me, for me, it's more so when I bring up a conversation with someone who I know is going to disagree with me, I still lose my head. For example, like one example is I was talking to my dad about gay rights and abortion rights and all that, and my dad's like a very staunch Muslim, so he wouldn't agree with anything I was saying. He's like, oh, like, and it's something that like I've been trying to do for a while. I've been trying to tell him like gay rights. He's like, no, like there's medical reasons, there's Quran reasons, there's this and that, and just like he is one of the persons that does refuse to listen. So it is a bit frustrating, but I still like lose my head every single time I talk to him. And anyone that's like that, where they will disagree with my opinion and then they won't take any information on board, I'll just lose my head.
Yeah.
And that's something I need.
But
to
I think there's nothing more infuriating than
yeah,
being willing to listen to someone else's ideals and their viewpoints, but then not taking on yours. Like that is potentially the most frustrating thing when you're having a debate.
When I'm losing my head at them, that's making them think that they won the argument.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't actually win the argument, even if I had the sounder arguments and if I lose my head, they think they've won it.
Yeah.
So I need to work on that.
I'm a mixture between you two. I don't like confrontation,
Yeah.
but if I do get into a confrontation and somebody really doesn't agree with me, I lose my head. So it's just knowing when to use my energy. That's what I'm trying to learn. Really.
The one thing I need to work on is just being less selfish. I got a lot of I prioritize a lot of the time. Prioritize a lot of my own problems. I got a lot of it. Like when I'm dealing with my own shit, I don't have the energy to deal with other stuff.
I don't think
So,
that's
like,
necessarily a bad thing though, because you can't help someone until you help yourself.
That's the thing. I think this is a large part. I think that's the same thing for a lot of people.
Just because you're solving issues within yourself doesn't mean you're not part of the big picture solution.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like if they're like whenever I can, I try and help out with things or spread information or whatever. But there's a large amount of time where I don't spend doing that because I'm doing my own shit and doing whatever.
Just think of that as research and development in your own self instead of wasting time. And that's like a better way to look at it, because even if you don't think you're doing anything worthwhile, even if you're just like doing something you enjoy, it is a form of meditation for you. So you are creating a calmer mindset for yourself, and then you are becoming a more efficient part of the solution. I
mean, that's it. Like it's like obviously we all know we've all been through individual shit and stuff like that. So it's a case of, sometimes you just got to make sure you keep yourself on track first and foremost. And that's what it is for me for a lot of the time, is making sure that, I mean, we'll probably touch on this. We can probably do another podcast on this another time, but making sure that, I don't lose my fucking marbles. Well, that's pretty much all it is. making sure I don't go insane. That's why I do a lot of shit I do, and that doesn't leave me with a lot of energy and time for other things to do, which I would like to do. But would you guys like to talk a little bit more on stuff, or do you want to call it here?
I think we've said. Well, I've said all of
on this issue. I think we're done, but I'm happy to keep going for.
Yeah, we can talk.
I'm happy to keep going on something else, but I definitely have no more to offer on said subject. I think everything that we've said has been spot on, really. Yeah,
we can just do trivia now.
So but that conversation we had, at points we were reaching at straws a little bit, so I will probably edit some stuff out and do whatever, and
that's probably fair.
And it's probably the best thing to do to try and keep it concise argument and shit like that. So if it's a little bit choppy, my bad, I'm not a good editor. But we'll probably take a break now and talk about some more lighthearted stuff.
Can I sign off that subject with knowledge is power? Just remember that.
Facts.
Love everyone.
Knowledge, strength, and integrity.
Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Luke has got a very important message for everyone.
Hi. During that really deep and insightful chat, I used the word idiosyncrasy wrong. I thought it meant something to do with dictators. It actually means.
You meant to use oligarchy.
No, I didn't. Don't you?
Or did you mean oligarchy? Or did you mean dictatorship?
It's something else. It's something really,
You accepted
really,
all the
really
arguments with
insightful.
answer.
Yeah, it's quite good, but it's not exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
So what does it mean, Link?
Theocracies.
Idiosyncrasy means a mode of behaviour or way of thought peculiar to an individual. That's about it. So yeah.
Oh, technically,
it's
you
a
could apply
fancy-
to
it's a-
dictators.
It's a fancy way of
Maybe.
saying that someone's behaved in a way that's not normal to themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll think of the word that I mean in 3 days' time, and I'll let everyone know. I'll put it on the Instagram
Inshallah,
story.
brother. Inshallah.
Right. So, basically, yeah, to bring it back to some more lightheartedness. Yeah, I mean, the Super Bowl was last night. I don't think anyone other than Luke's watched it, but I did see Patrick Mahomes make some crazy ass throw when he was diving.
Yeah. Have you seen that Twitter tweet where it's
Tweet
like
on the
NCAA?
If I make this throw, you better not come back to the sideline. You better leave the whole stadium or something like that.
It's the NCAA where he gets tackled and he's like throwing it back. He's falling backwards, but like the release is perfect. So it's like a tracer bullet into the receiver's hand still.
Oh, fucking hell, man! That
The
guy's
animation's just beautiful.
he's a wizard.
Yeah, he was making those kind of throws. But they're still hitting people in the face mask. So
yeah, I mean that's where you got to put them as well, and then people just fuck, man. You know what, right? Since leaving university, I haven't watched a single game of American football. I haven't watched a single snap, and I don't miss it at all. I miss playing it, but I don't miss it.
I miss nothing to do with it. Not even playing it, like absolutely nothing. I only went because a few of my friends played, and look where that left me. With multiple injuries and a hatred for Wednesday evenings in freezing conditions outside.
You know what, right?
Man, yeah, the cold Sundays. Fuck.
Yeah, man, it's not a sport where you don't really want to be there until you actually despise the day which you train on. You dread the day it comes around and you're like, for fuck's sake, I gotta go again.
Oh, sorry, Bucken, mate. I've actually I quit my job 3 months ago, but I've actually got work this weekend, so can't play the game this weekend,
training
mate.
Inside was great. Training
inside was class.
But Mondays on the 3G where you just have to like get 3G burn in freezing cold conditions. It's so shit.
I'll be playing O-line, so I'll be standing still for fucking 2 hours in the piss and rain. Fuck, man, never again. Yeah. Never catch me doing that again.
And when I'm getting told like, yo, come to like Sunderland, stand in the freezing cold, block for 3 hours. No.
I should have played basketball.
It was in first year where like we only played like the first string positions for like the game, and then second string like came on like for the like last 3 snaps of the game if we were like in an okay position, and I was third string in first year, so they wanted me to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to travel down to Teesside to stand there in the cold. Like, I don't know.
No,
you're not selling it.
Teesside's a ways away as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't discourage people from playing sports though. Social side of it, really good, really
cracking. Yeah.
But the sports side of it, fuck
it
that.
Was tough.
Be a social member of whatever club you want to join if you think you're unsure about the sport.
It's always worth it. Yeah. Like
I think
literally...
the facilities are shit for American football.
Yeah,
in the UK though.
Yeah,
that really puts it back.
Unless you go to a Prem team like Loughborough or Stirling
or Brunel or something like that.
Yeah, they got some cool ass facilities there. But
one of the lads I went to school with actually made the double coverage? No, what was
double coverage? Double coverage.
Yeah, double coverage team of the year as like one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh mate,
I think it'll get way bigger in this country in like 10 years.
I think the thing is though, we say that all the time. Every time a Super Bowl rolls around or something, everyone goes, "Oh, it's going to get bigger in this country." The issue is there's a very stark contrast between the people that want to play it now after watching the Super Bowl or whatever, and then the coaches that are in this country.
Yeah.
and the way they coach is completely different to what they expect.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
there is no big 40-yard passes, 50-yard passes over here. It's more like you go for a run for 3 yards, then you run again,
Yeah.
and then you run again on
3-yard
third
gains.
down, and then you
Yeah.
occasionally throw the ball if the weather conditions right.
Yeah.
Oh, what
There's
was
no
that?
point.
The 3-yard gains only. Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
It's trying to manage people's expectations at uni ball, especially at our level.
Oh, you want to be a wide receiver because you watched Odell Beckham catch that one-handed catch. Great. You can sit on the sidelines and block when needed.
You can block for 2 hours. You
can do exactly what you didn't want to do. Oh, you thought you were going to be the superstar of the team? Fuck off.
Well, I swear that it actually like damaged my psyche. It made me feel like a piece of trash. Just I think there's one bit of it's really getting off topic. I'm sorry for once that you have to go through like American football stuff.
I'm just happy that I didn't have to go through any of this. Like,
Yeah.
Fair.
Oh,
posted my way through the social part of uni.
The social
While you lot were going for like your rugby initiations and your American football initiations, I was just there at the
Rugby?
pub, drinking like calm pints with the Economic Society, just chilled out pints in a pub.
Yeah, Econ sounded lovely, man.
I was having a great
Econ
time.
Society, that one night out I went out with the Econ Society was fucking
You
good
lot were
time.
there like trying to hold on to eggs so that they didn't break the entire night. I was just there with a pint.
Yeah, and if it broke, you had to eat it, shell and all. Fuck.
I actually had my egg for up to 3 weeks after the initiation. I kept it nice and safe.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, man. I remember our
My rugby was
initiation.
smashed in my pocket.
That's dark.
Oh,
Someone actually asked me to show my egg at the end of the night, and then they slapped my hand and knocked my egg out my hand. But just like I managed to catch it with the other hand, and honestly felt like my dick was massive after that.
Man, I remember in my initiation. I remember for some reason Fraser was in with me because he didn't get initiated the year before. They locked us
because he joined like end of first year, didn't he?
Yeah, so they locked us in a dark garage, made us drink 2 liters of cider, and then eat raw onions. And I was like, I'm not eating this fucking raw onion. I was like, all right, give me like 1 or 2, and I just fucking gooched them, and then just fucking launched them down the road as soon as I got outside for a cig. I was like, I'm not eating that. No one's ever gonna know. I've never eaten it. And
I gotta be honest, mate. Eating the raw onion part of the initiation was actually pretty sound. I enjoy raw onions. So I had no problems with that.
I feel like raw onion in my gooch would cause a level of skin irritation I would not be comfortable.
Hey man,
it still had the like peel on it. So like I peeled mine before I ate it, obviously, because I'm not fucking psycho.
What if you got with somebody after that as well?
That's my issue. Is I was trying to be a gallus at the same time.
Realistically, I was not backing myself in a club.
What if you got with someone and you forgot to ungooch your onion?
No, you just had onion stank. You just had.
I feel like onion stank isn't as bad as surprise
Late that night. Oh, you got some big balls.
Just surprise gooch onion.
Were any of us successful
enough? And there's just an onion on the floor.
Were any of us successful enough at uni to be worrying about these things?
No, not really.
No.
I don't know. I went for a stage in 3rd year where I could have.
You're right. So you're a year later than when you had to keep.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yeah, at that point in my life, I was very socially awkward.
Yeah. So I feel like realistically, that's the least of our worries.
Yeah. But yeah. All right.
I mean, I'd be more worried about the injuries that could have been caused by onions down there. Like you could accidentally. I don't know. Somehow the onions could damage something up there, I reckon.
Nah, it
would take some effort to get the onion up there.
I didn't put it up my ass. I gooched it. I wasn't trying to sneak it into Creamfields. I was just trying to get it outside.
Oh man, you got
you gooched it, and then like you're in the club, and someone like grinds it up on you and then crushes the balls between the onions, and
that's probably the most likely, isn't it? Somebody has to be. What is it? You'd have to be daggering hard for that to happen.
I don't know. What if some dancehall tune comes on?
You start daggering people with an onion down your
Forget
trousers.
the onions. Oh god.
Oh.
Where are we?
Nah, man, that shit got wild that night. I remember I got tied up to someone, and then he didn't want to. I can't remember his name, but he's a sound geezer. And then he didn't want to. Do the challenges thing. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'll do it." And then right at the end, I had to do like a triple waterfall, and I just remember chunnying a shit ton. And then we went on a night out, and then some lad passed out, and then he claimed like 3 weeks later that someone spiked him, and we were like, no, because that just didn't happen. We all know that didn't happen. And yeah, it all got fucking crazy. And if the SU ever found out about any of that, that club would have been shut down. And I heard the first year fucking initiations were even worse.
We had to do a push-up contest, and if you lost, you had to eat dog food.
Yeah.
I didn't lose, fortunately.
Yeah,
and then we had to get blindfolded and taken into the kitchen where they put a Frankfurter sausage like in and around our face.
But you're on your knees.
Yeah, you're on your knees, but like people just thought it was a penis. And I'm like, realistically, no one's actually rubbing their dick across your face.
No. He's got Frankfurt dick.
No one's got that solid piece out of the blue.
So consistent.
Yeah, why is it so rubbery?
So a quick Google search. Dog food isn't designed for the unique nutritional needs of humans, so it is not toxic for humans and may be safe in an emergency situation. However, eating dog food may increase your risk of developing foodborne illnesses.
Yeah, so I actually watched a video on someone that ate dog food for a month. This was like down a Facebook video rabbit hole a while back.
Of course it was. Where else would it be?
Was it lockdown or pre?
No, this was when I was like 15, probably.
Oh, okay,
right?
that's also fine.
And this geezer ate dog food for a month, and basically because of the lack of nutritional values and stuff, he ended up losing like 10 kilos, just because it's like next to nothing in energy as well.
Some next diet that.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it, but like.
Just make a chicken Caesar salad and have dog food instead of croutons. You'll be fine.
Wait, no, I'm talking wet food. I'm not talking the biscuits. I feel like I could.
Have you seen those fucking weird?
I feel like eating the dog biscuits would be like okay, but like eating the wet dog food.
Yeah, I'm not. Nice. I don't know how I feel about wet dog food.
Like, no, that's what the people had to eat if they lost their press up challenge. Sorry, probably should have specified. Like, imagine a can of pedigree, spoonful of that, boom. Yeah, that's a chunny right there.
18-year-old me is seeing that, and if I'm not in the door already, I am not going into the door for the rest of the day.
Bro, if someone tries to eat dog food, something's rocking. Something is rocking.
Worst part is they tried to say I lost my press up challenge because I stopped first, but he was doing like one for every 3 that I'd done, and he was just playing the long game. And then I had Chris Endres, shout out Chris Endres. He backed me that night. He was like, I watched him. He did like 3 times more than the other guy. Yeah. And I was like, thank God you saved me from dog food. Yeah. I appreciate that more than
people need to normalize rocking. Just rocking each other at initiation. Just if someone tells you something you don't want to do, just fist up, duke it out. But on a real, have you seen those videos?
To be fair, if you was a first year, knock out a 4th year, I think you get away with it. That's
bro,
fine.
You probably become president.
Yeah, fine.
Eventually you become president. That's how it works.
Imagine trying to knock out Seb German. Yeah, not happening. The man overhead presses more than I weigh, I swear.
Yeah, as an 18-year-old as well, just remember.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's a scary man.
Yeah, Seb is a terrifying person. But on another note, talking about dog food and shit, have you seen those people with those weird ass addictions that they have? Like the guy who's like that's in love with his car. And like they do some weird shit. They're normally on like TLC or whatever it's called.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
I saw the macaroni one the other day. The guy like is addicted to, in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they just eat like the packet macaroni cheese for like a few months. He's addicted to that stuff, and his body will reject any other kind of food other
That's
than
mad.
that macaroni and cheese. So he wants to actually get off it, but he physically can't.
He physically can't.
He's got to
That is
wean himself off that.
mental.
That is mad.
Mad.
Yeah, hopefully he's doing okay. You know.
Is that what would happen to a vegan's body if they, like, after 10 years decided they wanted to start eating, like, animal-based stuff?
Oh yeah, they get the
Like,
shit
would their body
real
just
bad.
reject it?
Yeah, they get
Yeah.
the shit's
Yeah.
real bad.
Because, like, I already struggle when I eat
I
dairy
watched,
now.
I
Like,
watched
it's
a
not
Gordon
good.
Ramsay video where there was this vegetarian who was vegetarian for animal rights reasons. So she said that if she found a farm and a chef where like the animals like locally sourced, it was all organic, and like she knew the chef and trusted everything, she would eat beef. So Gordon Ramsay flew her out, made her a steak meal, sat her down, and is like, well, no, he flew out to her to Australia to cook at her farm, made her steak, and this woman's just like ate it, and then like 2 seconds later she's like, I need the cameras to cut. And that's it. That's the end of the show. And you just see her zipping off. So
Maybe she
chances
just
are-
ate something dodgy before, you know.
chances are that meat is just given her the shits, or like
Possibly.
Yeah, because it's like, it's the way the proteins are broken down
Yeah.
and they're different
It's the
proteins and
enzymes.
shit, aren't they? Yeah, that's it,
you-
enzymes.
yeah, you don't produce the enzymes anymore because you do not need to break. Your body doesn't need to break down that form of protein anymore.
Isn't there someone
I
who
did-
did glass? Like,
I didn't even take A-level bio.
Someone who eats glass.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that on the TLC one, there's someone who genuinely eats glass.
Oh, I've seen
Yeah,
that
do
one.
you know
I've
what?
actually seen
Yeah, I
that
think
one.
I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they really grind up with it. Yeah, that's a weird one.
yeah, it's
I've
fucking
seen
grim.
the one where the woman eats soap bars as well. She just munches.
What,
on
Yeah,
them.
what I don't
that's
get
the
is,
one.
right, these people are eating stuff like that have zero nutritional value. So, like, how are they not dead?
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
they must
they're
be.
probably
They
eating
must
other
be
things as
having like a
well.
protein shake every now and
Yeah,
again.
Yeah,
same,
like,
same
they're
way people
100%.
smoke crack. You know what I mean? It's just an indulgence.
Yeah, yeah.
They're 100% like eating a full 3-course meal, but just like
then-
they
and then a
eat
box-
glass on top of that. You
Yeah,
know
it's
what I
just-
mean? Like,
It's like a little garnish or like a little something at the end of your meal.
oh shit, I forgot the salt. Don't worry, I've got some glass. Here we
got
go.
some broken glass. Yeah.
Where people like genuinely like if you eat glass, please seek help. Like that's like
Yeah, no, I think that needs to be said, Mike. That's a really.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I
Hot
think
take.
you're spot on.
like
I think you're spot on, mate.
yeah, that's just the way, that's just the
You know
way
what,
it is.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. If you eat glass, feel comfortable in your own skin. Do what's good for you.
I mean, technically, do you in it, but that's just not healthy. Like, please seek help because you shouldn't be eating glass.
Fine, okay. If you eat glass, make sure it's not the only thing you're eating.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
gonna make it worse, isn't it? If you combine glass with something
No,
else.
'cause if you want to eat glass, indulge yourself, sure, but just make sure you're eating things that have like nutrients in them,
Yeah.
you know, so that you can continue to eat glass.
Man,
Who
don't
do you
eat
think you love
glass.
the most?
Just
Don't eat glass. I think that's the main takeaway we need to really
Yeah.
push here.
glass. No.
Luke and Mike, I feel like you need to broaden your horizons a bit.
Listen,
Yeah.
man,
Like,
I've probably
you're
switched
telling
between
me to
saying
eat
glass and
glass.
glass about 5 times.
You
That's
guys
broadening
have got your
horizons.
blinkers on. You're only seeing forward, but you're not seeing the full range.
The
of it.
glass eating spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just take off my lenses quick and give them a quick scram.
Yeah. I did
No, man.
veganuary last month.
Veganuary.
You completed
What,
it.
okay. What was your
Yeah.
favorite vegan meal that you made during veganuary? Well, obviously it would have been a vegan meal, but like, what was your favorite meal that you made during veganuary?
Favorite meal was actually.
I made pesto pasta like 5 times, and I was banging every time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd have some like sun-dried tomatoes, olives,
Pesto isn't vegan.
Pesto.
though, is
Pesto's
it?
not vegan, G.
vegan pesto.
Okay,
Dickheads.
yeah,
Ah.
cool. Just clarify
I
it.
thought we were just going to debunk the whole thing.
Trying to gotcha me, fuck's sake.
Well, you said it with like such casualness. I was like, I don't know.
Pesto
Has he
pasta.
registered that like pesto
I
is?
thought all the boys knew that there was vegan pesto available.
Yeah, I'm well aware of it. I've lived with a vegan, so you
I'm
know.
pretty sure there's vegan
Exactly,
everything on the market. if you
dickhead.
want it.
But I just want to make sure that you were eating the vegan kind.
Yes, yeah, I
Okay.
did my research.
Okay, cool.
To be fair, I've gone pretty
Fuck's
much
sake.
vegetarian now. Like, that's just the way it is. Do you know what, right? As someone who loves meat more than pause, someone who loves meat,
Love meat, and it doesn't have to. He doesn't need a
Doesn't-
pause after that.
It does.
Just love meat.
It does need a pause.
You got to
But-
say it with chess. I
Just-
love the
just-
meat.
Just
I want that
slobber
meat
on
in my
that meat,
mouth.
mate.
I want all the meat in my mouth.
There's someone who loves meat. Basically, switching to like plant-based alternatives has been really easy because most times you end up like putting meat in
Yeah.
a sauce or season it anyway, and you don't even notice a difference. Started doing that, and like, yeah, it's weird. I barely eat meat
Yeah.
anymore. Like,
Tell that to my
Some-
brother. He almost like threw me out of my house during lockdown because me and Sam made vegan burgers and potato wedges, and he was like, "I'm not eating this shit." And he was like, "It's fucking disgusting." I was like, "It's genuinely not that different, bro."
It doesn't taste that much different.
No,
You can tell the difference after a while.
I think
can.
he
Tell the
almost
difference.
had tears that day. Like genuinely, there was almost tears.
you need to bear in
I
mind, right? This is Shiv's older brother, not younger brother.
It was 25.
He's
I
not
think
25 yet. He's not 25 yet. Come on, let's
the,
respect.
the,
He's
the
24.
only food where veganism is lacking is cheese.
Yes.
See, man, the coconut cheese I had, I think I've still got some in the fridge. It's okay. It doesn't melt good.
That's
I
the thing.
think-
I want it on a pizza. I want to be able to have a vegan pizza and it not feel like there's plastic in my mouth.
Yeah. I got Papa John's with the vegan cheese, and it was
Yeah.
weird.
It also
John's-
smells kind of funky. The cheese.
Yeah,
The vegan
it
cheese.
smells like it feels like Play-Doh. It feels like Play-Doh in your mouth.
Apparently, so Danny was telling me, the Domino's vegan pizza is banging the next day because the cheese sucks when it's hot, but when it's solidified and cold, it actually bangs and it tastes really good.
Interesting.
That's
So
interesting.
if you're willing to order a pizza to wait and eat it cold, Domino's vegan pizza.
This is the
man.
issue: is you're eating cold
Yeah.
pizza. I mean, that's the whole-
Wait, don't disrespect cold pizza.
I'm not. I just know certain people with other views. I know certain people,
He's playing
not
devil's
myself,
advocate again.
but they think that it's unacceptable to eat cold pizza.
It's
I
more
feel
than
like
acceptable. It's like
it
the
is
best
100%
breakfast.
acceptable to my issue with this whole plan is I am a Papa John's person over a Domino's person.
Domino's,
Bro, get
Domino's,
fucked.
I don't know. I'm
Domino's is
torn.
the
I
elite.
prefer the Papa John's sauce, like the
Yeah.
special garlic butter or whatever it is. That slaps so hard. So
Yeah.
I think Domino's have better choices.
Domino's has the better pizza.
And the way
Papa
they
John's
cook
has
the
the better
pizza,
chicken.
yeah.
Papa John's has a
See,
elite
for
chicken.
me, I have the perfect order from Papa John's because I just want a Mexican with olives instead
Oh,
of peppers.
That
filling.
threw me yesterday. I was almost willing to not be friends with you when Claire
Yes,
told
what
me
What
that you
happens?
have it.
What do you have on your pizza?
He had a Mexican pizza, right? But
Yeah.
removed.
Just for disclaimer purposes, this was
peppers.
filmed before lockdown.
Yeah. He
This,
had.
we're also not sponsored by Papa John's or Domino's.
But Papa John's, if you do want to sponsor me, shout your boy.
or
if,
Domino's.
If you Domino's,
fairness.
if you want to sponsor me,
Go suck
know, yeah.
yourself.
But yeah, so Fawaz gets a pizza and removes the pepper to add olive.
Yeah,
Oh man, you suck.
no, it doesn't suck.
I've
But
got
that
nothing
sucks
against
so bad.
olive on pizza, but I think olive over pepper is quite wild.
Listen, man, olive
no.
generally
You want to
suck.
grow up, mate. You want to
No.
bloody grow up.
Olive
Peppers,
suck.
peppers
Olive
add
is a big man.
so much less compared to pepper. Well, peppers add so much less compared to olives in terms of flavor to a pizza.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Sweet caramelization of a cooked pepper over
It is, but if you're
an
right,
olive.
if you're seasoning that pepper,
Yeah, but if I want the
100%.
sweet caramelization, I've got the onions for that, G.
This is what we created the Waffle House for. These deep, in like very.
But does a Mexican
meaningful
have onions on
conversations.
it? I thought it
Yeah.
was. I thought it was like pepperoni, chili, and
No, because I can't have
peppers.
pepperoni.
Oh shit! So what's it got on it then?
So it's got jalapenos, red chilies, onions, and then spicy beef, and then usually green bell peppers. But I put olives instead of green bell peppers.
That's
I rate
dead.
that.
That's a
I
dead
actually quite like
pizza.
green peppers.
That's
I
a
think
dead
they're
pizza.
probably the best on a pizza, but
Nah,
I
like,
rate
you
olives
just
on a pizza.
you're
Bro,
being.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
I've
you
got
what-
no issue with olive on pizza. I just think over peppers.
I'll tell you
is
what-
over.
The dopest topping is, which people won't agree with, is mushrooms. Mushrooms is
Yes.
Oh, mushrooms are
Back
banging on a
mushrooms.
pizza.
Oh man, you
Black
got
mushrooms on the pizza. Yes.
the New
Right,
Yorker
Luke,
from
grow up. If you're telling me about olives and growing up, you can grow up and eat mushrooms on pizza, mate.
I'm saying fucking mushrooms are banging.
No. I'm talking about Luke. Look at Luke's face right now. He is giving me.
Oh.
Dude, the shrooms, man.
Yeah, it's taken me a long time to get on the mushroom train.
So
I'm still
Luke,
dipping
your
my toe
argument
in.
is now invalid, and I get to tell both of you to grow up.
Yeah, I do need to grow up with mushrooms, but
Wait, no, Luke. Do you dislike mushrooms as a whole or mushrooms on pizza?
I don't dislike mushroom. I don't dislike pizza. I like mushrooms on pizza and I like mushrooms, but I'm not a bigger man enough yet to order them on my pizza because they feel icky in my mouth.
They feel icky.
You're 22 years old.
The texture still gets me. I don't know what it is. I wouldn't go. I'd eat it.
It feels icky.
You're a grown ass man.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I can't believe you used the word icky, man.
that's the best way I could think of it.
Christ. Oh, that's
Icky. I think you've gone about. You're 20 years over the age limit for saying icky, mate.
That's the best way I could think of saying it. I don't
Grim,
like the texture
disgusting.
of them. They are gnarly.
Right, Mike,
It
you're getting
is.
that clip, putting it on the story tomorrow.
Oh, fucking right.
Yeah.
Oh. What's Luke talking about? They feel icky in my mouth.
What gives girls the ick when Luke says icky?
Icky in my mouth.
You know what? I'll tell you what, but
Boris.
we've got 7 minutes left on this. This whole ick shit's really pissing me off because some of them are so niche that it's
Yeah,
like,
it's
how
like
are
when
you
a
ever
guy
gonna get a
trips,
Still going.
when he trips over the pavement, that gives me the ick. Like, gee, come
when
on.
he's filling up the petrol in his car, that gives me the ick. What are we running on thin air now? Are we?
No,
What?
fully. The Fiat 500 Twitter has done us on that. That is the easiest bait thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
to some
100%
lads.
like surely none of them are real. Like they
I
are
reckon
doing
they
it
are.
just to get us.
Some of them are definitely real.
Some of them are definitely real.
I saw one when it was like when he grinds gears, that gives me the ick. And it's like, what? So what? It's a part of driving. Sometimes you grind your gears. All of a sudden, the next day you get a text saying, it's not you, it's me.
You just mess up a gear change, you're done.
You mess up a gear change, like, pull over the car now. Just gets out and walks.
Imagine your car
Pull
stalls
over,
at your car stalls at a traffic light and she just gets out.
Yeah, that's dark.
Before
That's
you can
so
even
dark.
start the car up again, she's gone.
Do you know what really gives me the ick is when people have aspiration and want to do really well with their life, and that gives me the ick.
Oh, fucking hell, mate! When people have goals, fucking hell,
Bro,
what are you
bring
thinking?
me the low self-esteem girls, please. That's what
when
I need.
they
Oh,
want to
God.
hustle and do good things for their life. Oh, that gives me the ick.
We sound
When
like
they wanna make
toxic
change in
kings
their
right
When
now.
they hug their mum for 1 second too long when they're saying goodbye, that gives me the ick. Like, relax, please.
When they drive a red car, that
Start the
gives me
clock.
Start the clock. You are the weakest link. Come on.
To be
You are
fair,
the
though,
weakest link.
Fiat 500 Twitter doing that has provided so much joy to me watching football Twitter just retaliate.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh,
listen.
most
Football Twitter
of
is
my-
not.
Most of my time on Twitter is spent in the
Being scared
crossfire,
of football Twitter. to be
in the
fair.
crossfire between football Twitter and Fiat 500 Twitter.
Man,
It's,
then,
it's
like-
good viewing. It's good viewing.
And then
It's not good to be a
sometimes-
part of.
Sometimes goth Twitter will get involved, and that's when it gets really spicy.
Yeah, when all different sides of Twitter try and get involved, you're like, mate, just leave out. It's not your war. It's not your battle. Just fuck off. You're not
I've
part
got a
of
lot of
this.
respect for goth Twitter. They
then,
really know their people.
Football Twitter has
Says-
so many different realms of it as well. Like there's sound football Twitter, and then there's
Yeah.
Brexit football Twitter, and then there's
And then there's people that have icons of football players as their DP, and that's like a whole different genre of
they're
football
like
Twitter.
they're the
Man,
scariest.
they rep players. It's like, what are you? Fucking
Yeah, like what
11?
are you doing?
Are you
Oh
11?
shit, you have Diogo Jota as your profile picture.
Oh wait, no, let's
Sick,
not comment
man.
on it because if football Twitter find us, we're done out.
No, I'll fucking tech football Twitter.
Oh, bro, you won't. You won't. Football Twitter
They
are
tried to
fearless.
kill Mike Dean. They sent Mike Dean.
Yeah, they sent Mike Dean death threats and shit.
Yeah, they did send Mike Dean death threats.
Fucking, that's like, they're crazy.
Yeah.
They don't have their face on the internet. They probably all use
Yeah.
VPNs. You'll never find them, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you're ruined.
But weirdly, football Twitter doesn't strike me as people that seem tech savvy.
Yeah.
That's where you're wrong. That's what
you think. That's what they want you to
I'm
think.
probably underestimating them massively because when I see someone with fucking Diogo Jota as their profile picture, it screams to me someone doesn't know how to use it.
Yeah, but when you think of someone with a Diogo Jota, like it's not some geezer in Liverpool. They're like standing outside Anfield every week. It's this geezer in Bangladesh that has to like go on 17 illegal websites.
It's actually so true.
And does it
so true.
4 times a week.
It's like fucking 4 a.m. over there and just staying
He's
up.
just there on a laptop. He's like, oh, I've got all 17 games up now.
Maybe that's why football Twitter is so dangerous. It's because the lack of identity of football Twitter.
This is it. Like no one knows who they are. You can't shut down a football Twitter page.
Anonymity of football Twitter is what leads to them having such strong power.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
And then the Fiat 500 girls don't give a fuck. Like they're ruthless. They don't give a shit. They'll call
but
you
the
out
thing
on
is,
your
their
bullshit.
face, they will be racist with chess, with their face and all their details on their profile, and that's like
Less racist than football Twitter, though. To be fair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
less
weirdly
racist, but like still quite racist with their face.
Yeah,
and
for
all
the
their
fact they've
details.
got all of their everything about them on the internet, they're still quite openly racist.
They're so openly Tory as well. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Man. Bro, grow
I
up.
don't know
I
if
don't know if they're Tory. I've not come across
to be
a lot
fair.
of Tory Fiat 500 Twitter.
Have
Yeah,
you
I
not?
don't see
Oh
many
no,
Tory
that's
tweets.
daddy's
I think-
that's daddy's money Twitter. That's something
okay.
else.
I also think Fiat 500 Twitter, when they are Tories, they might be quite closeted Tories because they know of the hate that Tories have received in online circles that they are witnessing.
Well, maybe.
You know what blows my mind
Also-
as well? If someone write like quote one line of a movie, like a Fitbird will call it like one line of a movie, which if I did it, I'd probably just get told to fuck off. But they get like 9,000 likes. I'm just like, how does this happen?
No, I respect it.
Mike, if you start posting your batty, I guarantee you get 9,000
Yeah,
likes as well.
start posting your batty. No, but
Anyone want a yam?
you don't need to post your batty if you're a 500 for your 500 Twitter user. You don't need to post your batty to get likes. You just need to use your clout. That is
True.
what you need.
Yeah.
If you
True.
accrue clout and then just post meaningless shit, you're still going to get 9,000 likes.
Apparently,
You
every
start
Fiat
a
500
tweet
comes with
with ha, ha,
5,000
ha.
followers.
You see, start a tweet with ha ha ha. Then your tweet, which is like just random observation, or is that just me? Emoji XX. File tweet.
Clout away.
It's the Fiat 500 Twitter for me.
Yeah.
We should for what, send Dylan O'Shea that template for a tweet because he's been begging to go viral.
I might have to.
Right, we are waffling here.
So if we get over 100 views on this podcast that goes out, I will man the Wafflehouse Twitter and use it strictly as a Fiat 500 Twitter.
You've heard it here first. Make sure you run it up. Should we call it a day here,
Like and
boys?
subscribe.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe, so I have to spend all my time on Twitter. Not like I don't do that already, anyways.
Do it. And yeah, cool. I hope everyone enjoyed and found the conversation somewhat
Interesting and insightful, and then you
yeah.
didn't really know what was happening, because that's sort of like what's happened with me here.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on. We just talk and then some words come out. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed. Follow us on socials. Follow the podcast Spotify page. Everything in the description. And yeah, cool. Safe. See
Don't
you
be
soon.
embarrassed that we're amazing.
Yeah, pretty much. Right, in a bit.